There is this one particular statement of Diljit Dosanjh that is being discussed massively when he said that I'm an artist pro and keep me out of it.
I think are extremely aware what is happening in the country.
When you are part of subjects which are related to current affairs or which are related to politics, then to just shy away from something, that is something that's a bit hard to digest.
And it was so difficult for me to explain in words. And what he said, oh, you should stay silent.
The latest film that is coming out, Max Min and Meowzaki. How much of confidence does an actor need to show himself or herself at his or her vulnerable best?
You are in service of art. It's a sacred act. It helps you to discover yourself, who you are.
How important is level of freedom for an artist?
Oh, I think it's very, very important in democracy. I think everybody should have the freedom to say without being a nasty person. You know what I mean? It's tragic to see that. My swadharma is to stay true to my inner calling. What is it? It is expressing yourself through the art that you have chosen to express yourself. Hello, hi, my name is Adil Hussain and you are watching this memorable conversation with Faridoon Shahryar.
So what is the most important role of cinema according to you?
If we consider cinema is a form of art, which I consider it is a combination of arts which have come together, not from theatre. Theatre is not, a lot of people think that theatre is the mother of cinema. It is not. It is painting and other forms of arts, music, and of course the costume and all that. If we consider all that coming together would create a different kind of art form which has been created just 100 years ago, 100 or 125 years ago. It's in its nascent form. I think it is not even, according to me, it is in front of theatre or any other art form. It is not even crawling. It just came out of mother's womb. And so it has yet to take, some great masters have taken it way forward, but according to me that the role that it could probably play, and it has played a very important role in certain occasions in the human history, it has created, because of the kind of reach it has towards maximum number of people, it can bind people into a common vision, common goal, bring people together to experience something which could probably what the future could be, what humanity could be, rather than what it is. A lot of us are we behave like lesser selves, if I can put it that way. But I think it can inspire humanity to grow out of our 8-year-old emotional body to become mature people.
Cinema is also all about storytelling. It's about communication. The message that you're trying to communicate through your film, the story that you're trying to tell through the medium in the best possible manner. It can be linear, it can be non-linear, it can be subtext, it can be subtle, it can be direct. There are multiple ways in which you can communicate. According to you, what do you think is the best way to communicate when it comes to cinema?
Well, I do not think there is one best possible way, because I have loved Japanese, Ozu's films. I have loved the great masters. I have loved the great linear films, French cinema or Indian cinema. Gurudutt's films and Malayali films and Assamese films, which are linear, sometimes is extremely surrealistic cinema of Salvador Dali I watched in France. And I think it depends upon who are we showing it to. If our intention is to reach the mass, like the most possible people on the planet, or in India, if we talk about India, then we must remember that there is a certain amount of gap of art education in the country. We have not, for last 75 years, we have not been able to bring the taste of Indian people to appreciate subtle art. It could be painting or Shastriya Sangeet, jisko we call it classical music, or subtler things in life. We haven't somehow managed to crack that. Education system has tremendously failed us to a great extent. I had been lucky because I came to National School of Drama. Not everybody is lucky. There are only 20 seats in the drama school. And some people go to NIDA or, to visual arts schools. And some people, because of the environment that they grew up in their household and families and, all the musicians or actors or dancers. But most most part of the population in India, they are deprived of art education to understand the aesthetics, the beauty, to appreciate the painting of Ajanta or Ellora or the great cave paintings in the national territory. We haven't been taught that, how to appreciate that. That is unfortunate. So keeping that in mind, I would say it would depend on the writer, director, producer. Why are you making this film? If your intent is purely to earn triple the amount of the budget that you have used, or you are happy with breaking even, you know what I mean? Or you are happy that, okay, fine, I'm getting little more money to make my next film. It totally would depend upon that, what could be their best way. I don't think there is a general definition of this is the best way to make films, to tell your story in the best possible way. I might have my own perception, but it cannot be imposed on others.
So in your career, you have straddled between both the art and the commercial cinema. Nasir Sahab has very famously said that I do a film like Krish, for example, for putting the jam on my table. How important is for any actor to be pragmatic when it comes to balancing the art and the commerce?
I think it would depend upon what kind of life you have chosen to lead. When I was alone and I used to spend, I was given shelter by my very, very generous friends, and I didn't even think of earning money. I was doing theatre. I didn't want to act in movies because the movies, in those days in 90s, I could not watch them myself. So I didn't want to be part of it. So that's why I stayed away from Bombay. I graduated in 93, and my first movie that I acted in Hindi cinema was in 2008. That too under a very earnest request by Abhishek Chaubey to play a role in Ishqiya. That's how my journey in Hindi film started. He came to Bombay and Delhi, and he sort of, kindly asked me. Thank God that he asked me, to act in his movie. So what I'm trying to say is that the way I balance is that I, as Nasir Saab said, a similar way, I do Good News and I do a Force 1, Force 2 or Commando 2 or any other commercial movie. I call it Kuch Dil Ke Liye, Kuch Bil Ke Liye. So I try, but most of it is for Dil. That's how I remain, I maintain a decent poverty. I do not have, I have to look at my bank balance and decide, okay, I have to do a film which will give me some money. Otherwise after 6 months, I will have problems to pay our sons, school fees. So, but I'm happy, doing that. I do not worry about it. That's the most important lesson that I've learned in my life, that I've learned how not to worry. And I'm grateful that someone taught me that.
Right. You have your ancestral roots in Italian and English and Iraqi as well. So the latest film that is coming out, very, very English name that you have, Max, Min, and Meowzaki. So, and you've dabbled. You've done like a Reluctant Fundamentalist. You've done like a Life of Pi. This has been a regular feature as far as you're concerned. So, how do your ancestral roots contribute in the way you think or the way your worldview is?
I don't know. I don't think it had been in my conscious mind at all till much later in my life. My mother used to say something and I was like, because I've never met my grandparents either side. And my mom would say, oh, dad, your grandfather was from Iraq, who walked from Iraq He was a Sufi saint who settled in the jungle in Assam. Then people gathered around him and, made a... Now, he passed in 1936 when my mom was 5 years old. So I've only heard stories. And the stories are such that nowadays, within 3 days' time, January 21st, 22nd, 23rd, 1 million people turn up on his death ceremony called Ursh. I don't know if you know that word or not. Ursh, we say there. And but I never thought of... I wanted to do a DNA check to sort of figure out, is it really? What probably gave me a worldview was my upbringing by my dad. My dad had been a ferocious reader. He had been a devotee rather than a fan. He had been a devotee of Tagore, and he believed Tagore was a medium of divine source. Otherwise, he could not write those poems that he wrote. He was a great person of literature, and he taught me basic principles of life, extreme honesty to the point that it is almost fanaticism, that his idea of how honest you should be in life. And that also built my character with regard to my maintaining my integrity and how I conduct myself in life. But that was in my childhood. But after that, what sort of shaped me toward a mature understanding, I mean, I'm still maturing, I'm not saying I'm anywhere there, understanding was a few of my teachers and one of my elder brother, friend, come elder brother, Dhrubajit Kishore Chaudhary, who introduced me to the idea of culture, to the idea of responsibility of a person who practices art and their duty. I used to be a part of stand-up satire stand-up group in Assam. We used to do a lot of political satire in Assam from 1995 till 1990. And then I came to NSD. NSD sort of sucked me into the nitty-gritty, and it made me fall in love with the intensity of getting into the depth of acting. And that sort of consumed me, and I became more interested in the diving into the depth of it, and I was still swimming in the surface, I'm sure. So because of that, I needed to learn, see, read, hear, listen, the ideas of great masters. When I say great masters, I'm including theatre masters, including Grotowski, Stanislavski, or Peter Brook, or Oshii Ueda from Japan, the Japanese theatre and Peking theatre, and Commedia dell'arte, and Shakespeare, and South African theatre, and the music from across the globe, and great masters in terms of who wrote Natyashastra, and the Indian spiritual masters, including Sri Aurobindo and Ramana Maharshi. So all of them have shaped my view. These were my teachers in NSD and later who I met because of my pursuit of knowing little more about how do I become sure that what I do makes sense to people, and is it worth it for me? Or is it worth it for the society? Am I just doing it for my narcissistic reasons? Or is there any place of art in human society where Lakshmi has taken over and Saraswati is left far behind,
as you mentioned about the stand-up comic part of it. Now, I was just watching before the podcast a reel of Samir Raina, and he said that if we stop making people laugh, then people will start asking questions. What do you think is the role of a good stand-up comic? Do you think that they're supposed to be satirical and involve political jokes, or do you think that they should just stay away from the current matters and political jokes and just concentrate on safer subjects?
If we look at the history of stand-up comics, then the Vidushak, the kings, they used to employ people that go to the villages, and and they were being brought into the Raj Sabha to apprise the king what is going on, and they will tell the stories in a funny way. The Vidushak was later, they are our ancestors. stand-up comics ancestors should be Vidushak. If someone has read it or not, I don't know. But when I did, we took the elements from the Ojapali. Ojapali is a particular folk form in Assam, and they used to sing in front of the kings, one Oja, one Pali. And the Oja will say something which is happening in the society and criticizing what is happening in the society, indirectly criticizing the king that he should look at it, you know. And the king used to understand what is going on. So it depends upon the generosity and the appreciation for humor. And if someone is not really appreciative, you can't do anything about it. So I do not know what to tell anybody else, but when we did stand-up comedy, we used to make fun of the ministers in front of them in Assam. Right in front of them. They would sit and we would make fun of them. There is one minister, I still remember, he had long beard, he's still there. Those days, he was a student, not a student leader, but the senior leader. When the students came to power, I was, part of it, in a sense, I was part of the agitation. And he came to power, and before he came to power, he promised the citizen of the city, Guwahati, that within 6 months after I become a minister, I will remove the railway track from the center of the city to the side of the city, because of that there's this huge traffic jam. 6 months have passed, 1 year has passed, and then we were doing this stand-up comic show, satire show, and then we saw him sitting in the audience. And then my troop leader, we were 4 of them, my troop leader started saying, hey, Mahabharat mein there was this wonderful, a man called, amazing human being called Bhishma, and he did the pratigya, he promised that he kept his promise. And in our midst, we have a Bhishma, the same look, he has got the long beard, but he never kept his promise, and blah, 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 blah. And people started clapping and laughing. And he also laughed with us. So that's how our relationship with the authority was when we did stand-up comic. I think it should be respectful. It should not be, but it should not devoid of criticism. Then there is no point. Who is going to tell what is happening in the country unless you get the report from your Khofia Sanstha, the institution that's there. But someone has to also make fun of it, make light of it, witty, become witty about it. And then when you have respect, like if I criticize my son, he doesn't listen to me. I mean, he doesn't listen to his father. But if I have fun with him, he would listen to me. You understand what I'm saying, Faridoon? That it has to come from a place of respect. It is very important to do that. If you have angst and if you are holding on to grudges and you are trying to prove yourself right and the other person wrong, if you come from there, then the other person also has equal amount of ego, or rather more, because they are in powerful position. They don't want to listen to you. You have to have that kind of a generosity and grace as well to criticize somebody without hurting their ego. It is very important. If your intent is not to prove them wrong, if your intent is to resolve the problem, if your intent is to resolve the problem, then you will act in a certain way.
Adil Sahab, if you have to do a stand-up comic act today, what are the precautions that you're going to be taking?
It's not precaution. I mean, this is a fundamental principle. I am trained as a clown. There's a form of clowning. It's called general tomfoolery, which is an European idea of Vidushak, which the fundamental idea of that, or the principle or the spirit of the person who is doing the act of tomfoolery, is that you must be ready to receive, you must be ready to become the receiving butt of the wrath of the world. पूरे दुनिया के जो आक्रोश है आपके बट में लेने के लिए आपको तैयार होनी चाहिए. उसके लिए आपको ह्यूमिलिटी चाहिए, उसके लिए आपके मन में उस किस्म के कंपैशन चाहिए, एम्पैथी चाहिए सबके प्रति. आपके आक्रोश अगर पॉलिटिशियंस के प्रति है तो आप उनके साथ बात कैसे करोगे? बिकॉज आप बात करने का जो when you are talking to a politician, you would be operating from a space of angst and anger, and that can be smelt from 200 miles away. And the other person gets alarmed. Their defense guard is on immediately. That, as I said, that happens between me and my son, me and my friend, me and my wife. When we have to resolve a problem, we have to come down from our high horses. We have to find a way out. How can I have at least little bit of respect for the other person, that the other person maybe has a story to tell, to be able to have the generosity or intellectual caliber to be able to envision that wherever the other person is coming from has a backstory behind it, and it may be more convincing, and it is definitely as legit as yours from the other person's point of view. So I would say that if you are doing stand-up comedy, first find a way to get rid of as much as possible, I know it is extremely difficult, get rid of your angst, your frustration. Find a way to ride on them rather than drowning on the emotions, and have some courage to respect the other person. Like, there is a beautiful saying by Ramana Maharshi. He was asked by somebody that how should we treat others? And you know what he said? He said, there are no others. You see, it's a very, very profound answer for me. So when I fight with my dad, I have to find a way to because my intention is to get through to him, not to prove him wrong. If I come from ego, I would like to prove him wrong. But that will not resolve the problem. It will only multiply the problem. So if the problem has to be resolved, then I must come from a place of compassion. It's not a precaution, it is a philosophical understanding. But our education system had been devoid of philosophical wisdom. Unfortunately, that's how we are behaving, the way we are behaving now.
Okay, so there is this one particular statement of Diljit Dosanjh that is being discussed massively when he said, when he was asked about Jantar Mantar in protest, and he said that I'm an artist pro and keep me out of it. So a lot of people, they're saying that that is not the way he should have responded. What do you think is the artist's responsibility? Do you think that he or she needs to reflect on the way the situation is in the society, or he's not supposed to be? He's just supposed to be impervious and stay away from?
No, I think artists are extremely aware what is happening in the country. I don't think anybody is keeping their ears and eyes shut. They can see what is happening, but what amount of truth is there, the kind of content or the newspaper that you read, what amount of truth is supporting it? It's so difficult to decipher what is true, what is actually happening on the ground, who is behind who. There are so many agendas which are happening, and should I believe this, believe him, believe her, having said that, my point of view is that I am, from my childhood, can only express the best possible way, not even the way I'm talking to you. I express myself the most profound way, or the profoundest way I express myself through my art. That's what I do. If I have to say something about what is happening, not only now, because what is happening now is not for the first time it is happening. I have seen myself. I had been beaten by CRPF when I was agitating against the Congress government in Assam, when I was in 9th standard. You see what I mean? It's not a new thing. And 6,000 people had been, I think 3,500 people had been killed in 6 hours' time in Assam within one night. It's called the Nelly massacre.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say is that there is nothing new which is happening. It is just the intensity and I'm not saying it's nothing new that should not be taken in seriously. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm trying to say is that how I would respond to the situation, nobody should tell me. Nobody has the prerogative to tell me how I would respond to any situation. You will respond the way you are an autonomous human being. You want to go to the street, you want to fight, take the poster. Please, you must do it because that's your inner calling. That's how you're feeling. I might write a song after 3 months. I might write a play after 2 months. I might write a novel after 5 years. What has happened to tell the best possible way that I express myself. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Because writing a tweet or saying sending a Facebook message is not the best way for me to communicate what I feel. It's not the profound way. It must be most popular way. And I stay away from populism. In myself, I'm talking about myself. I will find my way to respond how I would respond. Maybe tomorrow, maybe day after tomorrow, maybe whenever I feel like. You have no right to tell me how I should respond. Nobody has the right to tell me. I didn't give that right to my dad, and I'm not going to entitle, take this privilege away from me. I'm not going to allow that to happen. So Diljit or whoever, I have not heard what he said. I was really busy throughout the day. I'm going from one press to the other press and all that. But what I'm trying to say is this fundamental. I'm an autonomous human being, and my best possible way to express myself is through my art. I will find a film where I talk about what I want to talk about.
So it is also being said that several films have been made in the before as well, the last few years as well, which are deeply political in nature. And Diljit himself has just come up with Sutlej, and that has been talked about majorly. When you are part of subjects which are related to current affairs or which are related to politics, then to just shy away from something, that is something that's a bit hard to digest. That's what the opinion is.
Right. Okay.
Mainly, the question that is being asked is that with convenience, certain actors and filmmakers, they are making films which are deeply political in nature, and they are passing comments.
Yes.
But when it comes to certain matters which are really affecting the whole of the society, whole of the country, because education is something that one cannot stay away from. Then not to express, then to say that I'm an artist and I'm not supposed to be talking about it. That seems a bit hard to digest.
Right. That's why I'm saying that you say something like that, which is a 1 line or 2 lines, it does not really express what you really want to say. You see what I mean? That's why it is important not to say anything. You will be considered, though you remain silent and you will remember it. Please remember, it is important. But when I would say, if it is possible to include a few of my friends, that they would also express the best possible way about what has not only happened yesterday. This is just a chain of events which had been happening since the beginning of independence. I would say things have happened. It's a whole long backstory to it, right? It is not like yesterday. Some new people have come to rule us, and they have committed certain things. And so it is not only today or yesterday. It's a human nature. When I say I'm not a political person, I'm not a political activist. Neither I am a painter, nor I'm a bureaucrat, I express myself through art. That's my job, and the best at that. I'm best at that. So, if someone wants to come to me and say, can you say something about it? Like you are actually asking me to say something. And it is so difficult for me to explain in words because anything can be taken out of context and quoted. Someone will see this show and say, oh, Adil was talking to Faridoon, and what he said, oh, you should stay silent. You see, that is one of the danger of expressing through words which is not my forte. Shakespeare could do that. Kalidas could do that. It's not my forte. My forte is acting. And I'm not a writer, I'm not a director, so I have to find a story, or I have to coax someone to write a story through which I will say my view. And looking at society from only political point of view is a very narrow point of view, according to me. We have to look at the society from a larger point of view, which will include your politics, your human nature, how your emotions work, how ego works, how narcissism works, how psychology works, how social science works, how economics works. All these are, it's a wholesome way to look at society and see, oh, this is what has happened. It's a mass of people in the ladder of evolution have come across this thus far after independence. There was this COVID happen, there's this immense political upheaval happen, and all these things have to be taken into account, and what all the influences India had through when India opened up with MTV coming in, and all the ideas that people had, what is good life, what we need in life, what is the definition of success, everything. And my most favorite job is to understand how this piece of body works, emotions work. That's my job. And I want to understand human behavior through human nature. That's my study. So politics is not my study. I have not studied political science until only studied till 20+2. So I had been even asked to contest an election. I'm not going to say from which party, in 2014. I said, अरे मैं पिछले 40 साल से अच्छा एक्टिंग करने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ, वही नहीं हो पा रहा है मेरे से. How can I suddenly turn myself into politics? सर सभी तो कर रहे हैं. मैंने कहा भैया वो लोग महान व्यक्ति हैं, उनके पास जाइए, मैं नहीं कर सकता. So what I'm trying to say is that's not my way. That's not my. I will use a word which is a Sanskrit word, which is not my swadharma. My swadharma is to stay true to my inner calling. What is it? It is expressing yourself through the art that you have chosen to express yourself. That's all.
So, Kabir Khan told me in an interview that when people say that they are apolitical, it's practically not possible because when two people are talking, there is politics involved. Politics is involved in everything that we communicate and that we talk about.
That's a very, I would say, I would say that is one of the ways to look at it. But I do not look at it that if two people are talking is politics. I would say when two people are talking, two complex human organisms are talking, operating from spaces called lower chakra, Swadhisthana and Muladhar, and the Manipura is working. They're not talking from the heart center, the way I have understood human body. So, as I say, if you go to allopathy doctor, they will tell you, oh, you have a headache, take this pill. You go to homeopathy, they will treat something else so that the body treats the headache. You go to an Ayurvedician, they will say, hey, stay away from this. Come in the summer, I will remove your dosha. They try to go to the root problem, not the symptoms. These are symptoms. Political society is one of the ways to look at society. That, oh, this is a political point of view. Yes, of course, there is politics in every sphere, but there is not only politics. Politics is the tip of the iceberg because it is dramatic, because you can see it, because it is like Hindi masala film. You see, you can smell it and it is exciting. But underneath that, there is the whole human nature is working from, and the evolutionary wheel is moving. And if you look at from industrial evolution, how people have changed, what is the influence of this piece of machine that had been given to us, all that and so much more that I don't know.
So Robert De Niro can openly say what he wants to say about Donald Trump.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, of course.
Now, because the way the system is, he knows that no one is going to be burning effigies and he's not going to be harmed. How important is that level of freedom for an artist?
Oh, I think it's very, very important in democracy. I think everybody should have the freedom to say without being a nasty person. You know what I mean? You must have some sense of aesthetics, some sense of, otherwise you'll become the person you'll become the person, the one you are criticizing, you see. That's not the goal, right?
Correct.
I don't want to criticize you, and you can feel angry, and you can feel, I know what he said. I mean, he comes to the stage and he said the F word and the name of the president. I know that, I've seen that. But I didn't agree with him. I'm like, why would you do that? You are an artist. You must have your shalinata. You must have your sense of grace and aesthetics. Maybe sometimes people see that's not working, so let's break the rule. When you break the rule, what happens in a society? You know what happens. It breaks everything. Some people have to maintain a sense of decorum. Some people has to maintain a sense of wonder and beauty, that, hey, human beings can fall from their grace, but not everybody should fall. We have to hold ourselves, what do you call that? In a high standard. Some people cannot. Mahatma Gandhi did not. Nelson Mandela did not. Martin Luther King did not. Sri Aurobindo was jailed by the Britishers. He did not fall from his grace. Those are the examples. Now, if I take examples from the people, those who have behaved terribly, I have done too well. He was worse. I mean, you don't compare yourself with the worse ones. He should emulate someone who is better than you, no?
आपने सभ्यता की बात करी, आपने एस्थेटिक्स की बात करी. You work with Sreedevi, and I personally feel she's an epitome of grace and dignity and sophistication.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Do you think it's one of your finest moments in your cinema career to have worked in English?
That was I think so, because the kind of the role that was almost like a tailor-made for me, by Gauri Shinde, the director, writer. And that was my third film. And in the film world, I was like, who? Adil? I was that. And of course, I did thousands of performances on the stage. I traveled across the globe, and I did, Shakespeare in the heartland of Shakespeare in England. So I didn't have the hesitation, or I didn't have any underconfidence at all. I felt extremely happy that a person who I watched, I think when she was 20 years old or something, I forgot, someone corrected me the other day, when she did Sadma. That was the first film I watched. And I was deeply affected by that film, very, very deeply affected. And I saw her, and then I saw one or two of her films after that, because most of the films she did in India, I think it was not worthy of her caliber. That's what I felt. If she was born in Hollywood or in America, she would have gotten too many Oscars by now, with this greatest of scripts.
Yeah, that's true.
I become so jealous when I see those films, like, oh, somebody write a script like that for me, please, we grow as a human being when you see those films, when you take part in those films. So definitely Vinglish had been a turning point in my life, because it became popular as well, which I did not expect. It became a household film. People have watched it 5, 6, 7, 8 times, and they're still watching it. And people come up to me, and so I'm really grateful that she had given me equal amount of respect and affection, as if I was a veteran actor in the film world. I'm truly indebted to her.
Okay, and when you talk about Max Min and Meowzaki, there's a portion when you literally just break down and you cry. How much of confidence does an actor need to show himself or herself at his or her vulnerable best?
Oh, it needs not confidence, it needs courage. When I say courage, I don't mean bravery. I mean that you are at service. Is it the correct way to say it in English? You are in service of art. It's a sacred act. It helps you to discover yourself, who you are. It helps you to get in touch with those areas of your personality, of your psyche, of your subconscious, conscious mind that you have never touched. while you lived your daily life, because it did not warrant, it did not demand those aspects to be touched, So it is self-discovery. So if one is not like with a serious face, but one is in service, that I have decided with the intent to serve art, then you will get the courage. The courage is a consequence of that. Why are you doing what you are doing if you are sort of at least intellectually clear? If not, you have not yet digested that idea of why you are doing, and you have a clear answer, but in your head only, but not yet. Hindi में एक शब्द है, आत्मसात नहीं किया आपने अभी तक. You have not yet, embodied it. It's not in your emotional body yet. So you are ready to be vulnerable. Otherwise, you have no business to be to become an actor.
So, my question to you is that Max Payne and Meowzaki, I personally feel it's a beautiful film. We live in a time when there are no boundaries. Any good content can resonate with anyone in the world, especially when you're using the language of cinema, the language of subtlety, the language of music to express your story, rather than depending merely on just stitching it together through dialogues.
Yeah.
How important is it to create awareness about a film like Max Payne and Meowzaki so that people get to know about it? The important part is getting to know about it.
Yeah, of course. That's why we are doing what you're doing. You have this immense amount of people, those who like your work and they follow your work. And that's a disadvantage that I have, because I do these obscure films, because to quench my artistic thirst, I don't have a PR machinery behind me. I do not have even a manager anymore. I'm not with any agency. So I have like few 100,000 followers, and combining the three platforms. So that becomes a disadvantage. Sometimes I feel that, okay, I should join the rat race to have more followers and all that. But it doesn't work with me. And I think that it is the producer's job to sell the film. It's not my job. My job is to act and get out. That's where my job ends. It is the job of the director to put the film together, and the job of the producer to sell the film. And unfortunately, or the way it is now, maybe, that, it is so difficult. The marketplace is so competitive, is that people are doing all kinds of things to sell a film, which is, for me, is very sad, actually. It's tragic to see that you go, it's a rabbit hole, go down the rabbit hole to do weird things, silly things, sometimes stupid things. We are having a constructive conversation. That's fun for me to talk, But when I'm asked to do certain things, not for this film, but I refuse. I'm like, I can't do all that. It is not my taste. I'm not looking down at it. It is what I don't want to do, I cannot do all those things. So sometimes I feel that it is very, very important for me to have someone to, get to reach more people. But at the same time, I also feel that if anybody is looking for some growth, they will find the film. It may not make you earn a lot of money, but they will find the film. They will hear from someone, they will hear from you, they will hear somebody is talking about something, oh, that film, word of mouth. They will find the film, and it will have its place in the coming years, maybe decade.
Adil sir, thank you very much. It has been an absolute pleasure talking to you, and all the best wishes for Max Payne and Meowzaki and all your future ventures. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.